They say that if you don't have time, you need money, and if you don't have money, you need time. And we have neither of those things. Yet somehow we've committed to getting this Kelsall 58 back in the water and floating in the next 2 months.
When we get back in the water, we're going to need to steer our way out of here, and we can't do that without 2 rudders. 2 rudders didn't come with this boat, nor did any of the other spare parts, because as you found out and we found out the other week, they've all been auctioned off. So that means that we got to commit to designing and building these ourselves without plans. That's another thing we don't have.
So what do you need when you don't have time or money? You need skills, which we also don't have a lot of in the shipwright department. But
well, we are extremely skilled at communicating and learning and making friends with these amazing people that are around us. We're in the prime location for all people with experience in this department, and there are plenty. So we're talking to anyone and everyone who has got this professional and expert opinion. We're learning ourselves, and that's going to be our basis of what we form our designs on.
Yeah, so we're going to have these aforementioned friends help us with the design of these rudders, which is really, really exciting because we've never done anything like this before.
No, we got old friends on the job, we got new friends on the job, and frankly, if you know what you're talking about, you're going to be our friend for this job. Have you ever pulled a rudder design straight out of the air, or at least out of the yard of 15 catamarans around you? Well, this afternoon, James and I are doing exactly that. We don't have enough time to go and get a naval architect to design the rudder for us, so we're just looking around, we're window shopping, and we're going to come up with something today.
What do you reckon?
I reckon that's lagoon, and I've heard that lagoons don't sail so well. I mean, what do you like about this design though?
Oh, it's a really simple design. So what we're looking at is the amount of balance that the rudder has. So the amount that we've got forward of the stop, and here out of a 600, nearly 150. That's the power steering for your rudder. And this one's just under 900 deep, which is kind of what we were looking at.
It's exactly what we're looking at. And for reference, this is a 55-foot lagoon. So much variation in these rudder shapes, so much.
You can see that's got a lot less balance. 150 out of nearly 750. Now
Same, 900.
Yeah. Yep.
What's this? This is actually a Fusion 40 by the looks.
Yep.
And that is quite a nice rudder design.
Yeah.
I'm into that. I'm so into that.
Actually, look at the amount of balance there. So it goes from quite high balance up here. So we're probably at nearly 25%, 180 out of 500, to not much balance down here. But that's got that sweep that you like. So if we got a fishing line, it's gone. Yeah. Because the last thing you want is it to go up and then jam your rudder here. Because that's a rope or a
and you could be looking at detachment there, because I mean you have got your
sail drives
in forward of that, and then obviously mini keels as well.
Yeah, nice design.
I like that design a lot, and really nice fine point on the trailing edge.
I have heard reports of these things, you know, sitting on 16, 18 knots surfing down waves. So
a mate of mine, Al, has a Fusion 40 and
raves it.
Yeah, he's into it. I do like these. I really do like these because again, that has that really nice angle. Little bit more technical design in there, which I'm definitely not thinking is necessary for us, but that general shape as a template, and considering they have mini keels as well.
Nothing like plagiarism.
I'm sure there's going to be plenty of people who've got something to say about us
plagiarism.
Like cutting it. I brought these in case the secateurs, in case the blade doesn't work. But anyway, what's most important is getting this boat happening.
And plagiarism was the right price.
It's all we could afford.
Basically, we've got the bearings. Well, we've got half the bearings. Yeah. So we know our shaft size. So we're going to get some pretty fandangle shafts sent down from Brisbane. And what are they, about 60 mil diameter?
60 mil diameter and 2205 construction stainless steel.
We've found out that this stuff is the bee's knees. It resists stress, corrosion, cracking more than 316. So exactly what we need.
So we're looking at overall depth of 1040. This can be altered. We've got 20 mil there of bearing that could definitely step down a little bit.
Or we could take that to half. That, and then use these on the tops.
610, which rings a bell for a lot of the other ones that we were looking at.
And about one. So if I take that line there, we're about 150 to the centre.
So that's 590 there.
Yep. So say 600 and we're 150, so that's our kind of magic.
600 and 150 is
It's 25%.
great.
25% up here, tapering down to not so many percent at the bottom.
I'm loving
Down.
that.
Yeah.
Doesn't make it easy that we've got these stands right there.
No.
Might. Oh, hold on, James. Can you just? That's what we just designed.
Yeah.
Woo! Woo! Oh, really? It's that easy? I mean,
It's beautiful. It's a beautiful design.
Yeah. Now, when someone asks me, so you've done the engineering and all the calculations, I'll say, yeah,
Yeah,
it's done.
it's done.
Wasn't actually as hard as you imagined.
Yes.
So we're going to bring this face in a little bit.
Yeah, I
that
reckon
what we're
if
thinking? A half?
Yeah.
So it's sitting at 20 mil right now.
I reckon 10 mil.
And then are we still going to have a machined packer in here as a sacrificial kind of
Wear surface.
wear surface, but then also if we get
You-
impact, that's what's...
You can see some of them have that.
Yeah, and the one we took the template off, this actually had 3.
Do you reckon the shaft's going to spin in here, or is this going to spin?
That's going to be epoxied in, and the shaft will spin within the 60 mil
Yeah.
hole there. Realistically, if this is going to be epoxied into there, why do we even need a face on it? Because this is just creating a bubble and a bit of drag there that I didn't see that on any other boats. If we epoxied into that and it held there,
Yeah.
that's our wear plate,
Yeah.
and then that gives us a
Well,
lot better.
it's not there's no thrust on it in terms of upward. Is there any reason that we need to stop it going up?
I definitely don't want it walking up into that area because it steps in from there.
Yeah.
Why don't we just have a very short face on it? Like that's
20
That's 20 mil. Have another 3 mil washer that's made of the same material.
Yep.
So that takes
this
us to
does
10
say
mil.
top.
That does take.
So and that does take thrust load then, doesn't it? 'Cause
Yeah,
you'll have
definitely.
the stock on top of that.
However, I think I've made a bit of a plan for our how we're going to retain it, because what I learned about this is that there's positive buoyancy from the rudder,
Yeah.
and it's actually being pushed up in there. Regardless, you don't want it still hanging. So I've thought we're going to use an axial or thrust bearing first. From if you imagine from that point there,
Yep.
stainless steel washer, axial or thrust bearing, another stainless steel washer, and then a collar. So it splits. It's like 2 half moons.
Yep.
Splits.
Yep.
And then we'll come
Clamp
together
down.
over it.
Yep.
Fixed with 2 top and bottom either side, hex head or Allen key. It's not going to be keyed. There's not going to be a ball screw that goes into a tapped hole in there. It's just going to purely clamp, and then from there, that's what's the rudder's going to hang from.
Ah, right. So there's no thrust load onto your tiller arm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And then the tiller arm will then clamp, and we'll put a key in there for future alteration. However, but therefore, if it's not hanging so much, and
Yeah. It's preventing wear on this face.
yes, yeah,
Yeah, because you've got a face, and then you've got a ball bearing.
yes,
And then another face on top.
yep, washer, and then collar from there, and that
Yeah.
will then be
Yeah.
loading
okay,
up.
Unload. Yeah. So I reckon should we put this thing in?
Let's put this thing in.
That is one hot looking rudder.
Oh, look at that thing! The level of engineering behind it is just unbelievable.
You happy?
I mean, I'm happy as long as it's not got a lower draft than what the keels are, but it's still got to go up 20 mil. So
Yeah. You can always sand out that bottom.
yeah, true. Yep.
I don't, and it wouldn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am loving that. This is the sort of stuff that I saw from the first day walking into this boat that captured me and gave me the confidence to finish this and get it back in the water for Phoebe and I to live on. Designing and building all of this stuff, I wouldn't have the skills to do that myself, and I wouldn't have the money to pay someone to do it, but the job's been 90% done. I just need to finish it all off, and I'm starting to figure it out now. I've calculated the complete stroke of our cylinder here to figure out the position when the ram's in and when the ram's out. That can give me my center line for the tiller arm and the connection point. 172 mil stroke, so that means our stroke is 172 mil. So then I just need to find what the center is. So to do that, I just need to divide 172 divided by 2 is 86.
Welcome to the very high-tech editing suite of New Kids on the Dock. We're in the kitchenette at Boatworks because it's got aircon and I'm dying. So I want to put things into perspective for you and kind of consolidate the timelines. So this all unfolded just over a week after we bought the boat. Because we've only given ourselves 2 months on the hardstand, we need to keep things moving. We'd already put the feelers out to try and find someone in the world that may have plans for this boat in particular, or Derek Kelsall designs, because we need rudders and we need them fast. So at least now, if nothing comes up, we've still got James and Josh's designs to go with. But we were able to get in contact with a man called Giorgio from Peru who's currently building Derek Kelsall cats. So good. Now, although this was thrilling news, it's thrown a massive rudder-shaped spanner into the works, because as you can see, Josh and James designs and Derek Kelsall designs are very different. There's a huge discrepancy between the two. So what now? We're going to go down to see Dane at Ocean Degree, and he's going to CNC a life-size cutout of Derek Kelsall's rudder so that we can fit it onto the boat and see how it looks. Also, massive thanks to Mick and all the boys from Ocean Degree for your generosity in letting us use your equipment and time. We're not ones to stray from an original design. We trust the experts, but all we can go off are the little crumbs that we have of these existing systems. So for us in this rudder design, it's the existing hydraulic steering system, and the rudder design that Josh and James have come up with perfectly suits that system. But Derek Kelsall's designs doesn't. So it makes us question, did the builder of this boat have a different rudder design in mind, which is why Derek Kelsall's rudders don't fit the specs of his steering system? And if that's the case, what were they? Help us. This is why having a relationship with the previous boat owner is so vital on a project like this, because it would save us a lot of time and a lot of hassle. But that's okay. Moving forward, let's get this CNC cutout, see how it looks on the boat, ask a few of the brilliant minds around the boatyard, and make a decision from there.
Wow. That is sick. That's a big rudder. That is a big rudder times 2. Rudders, selling rudders. Yeah, I'll take it on the skatey.
Do you want to rest it on the skatey?
Yep.
Okay.
All right.
All right, see you there.
You will. Alrighty, how are you feeling about? Oh no, we're not going to be able to get it because the stand's in the way. That's a bugger. Alright.
They look pretty big.
Huge.
It's a big boat though, and if Kelsall designed it this way.
This is a concern for me because I'm not sure whether the insets for our rudder stocks are actually in the right spot compared to what the plans that we're going off the KSS 58 has. But if this is the rudder template for a KSS 58, then what I can already tell is that our shaft angle is not what is on the original plan, because if that was the case, this template has a perfect profile for our inset at the moment. We still have a bearing to go in there, which is going to reduce our inside diameter to 60 mil. However, that's now at 100, but that's sitting in perfectly. So the fact that it's sitting in perfectly and we don't have an even distance between the leading edge and the trailing edge shows us that realistically our angle should be going back that way a little bit. So because that's off, that makes me think maybe have they even moved this rudder stock position aft? And if they have done that, have they then counted the plans to have a smaller rudder? Because if you look on the drawings for the waterline, just this last section of the rudder is out on the waterline plans. If this waterline is correct that's been painted on there, we don't know whether it is, we're not going to know until we go in the water, there's quite a lot of rudder coming out of the water. So that could mean multiple things. We're not really going to know until we go back in the water, but what we are going to know from this template, we're going to have to get this moved so we can get a bit more accurate. If we're going with this template profile, or this profile for our rudder, we're actually going to have to move our rudder stock to, if we go that way, then that is therefore going to bring this section up and that section down. So when we do come in, we're going to keep our lines nice and tight, because we want the top edge of our trailing edge of the rudder to be really in close, hug tight to the hull, because that's a compression zone. When all the water's running back through here, it's really accelerating at this point here, and there's a lot of loading in here. That's why we're going to have our tangs. Our top tang is going to be quite high around this area. We're going to have heavy glass, heavy foam, and structural support there, because compared to down here, that's where the heavy loading is when we're going to be steering this boat. And we've been told that this boat should do pretty close to wind speed, which coming from a 12-ton steel sloop is like unbelievable. Yeah, this has shown us that we do have a little bit of change of plans. So I think it's going to help us a lot when we actually get our tangs and our shafts back. They're going to be made, welded together from the machinist, and we'll be able to put them in here, and then we'll be able to cut out, just take off that shaft, and we'll be able to actually fit it onto our tangs, and from there we can play with our position of the rudder shape and get it positioned on our tangs correctly. From there we might be able to fix it to that and then have a bit more of a look to see, is this actually going to be a nice shape for the boat? But I don't know, like you said, it does look pretty big. And it's a big boat, don't get me wrong, but you've seen what the other boats in this yard look like. Like, it's not that. Yeah. They're much smaller. So something to consider is that this has obviously got to come up a lot more. We're going to be hugging the hull really, really close, but look at the size difference in that. And to me, I feel like that actually looks a bit more sensible for this size boat.
Yeah.
But I could actually just cut a little bit of that out.
A little bit of the top of the rudder.
Yeah, we could actually still slide it up there. So it's
still on the wrong angle though.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you take any of the top off.
It's so hard too, because we've had so many conflicting opinions about these rudders. You know, that's the beautiful thing about the yachting community and all these brilliant nautical minds, is that there's so many different experiences and ways of doing things, but it makes it really tricky, because when we're doing something for the first time, we don't really know what to go off, who to trust. You know, everyone is an expert. Everyone's been, you know, in the trade for decades. You know, they all say that. So it's making this really hard.
But I love that, and I thrive off that, and that's what I'm relying on, as everyone's generous input. We're gathering all that information, and then we're making our own informed decision. But talking to Giorgio in Peru this morning, and him saying that every single Kelsall that he's been on has handled beautifully, has turned very well at all speeds. The biggest thing for us, if we're going to be sailing this boat around the world, I don't want our next boat, this one, to have weather helm. If we're doing rudders, we want it to be strong and solid.
Yeah. It's funny you actually say that, because today I've been editing our next episode in the timeline, and we were sailing around Harvey Bay and Gari, and the one thing that we kept commenting on was the weather helm. We were trying to set the autopilot up, trying to change the sails, trimming the sails and putting a reef in, and just trying to get the balance right. We couldn't get it right, so we ended up helming for like 8 hours.
I mean, we are going to be having a hydraulic steering system on this boat, so that's gonna take away a lot of that feel that we get from inner bloom that has a mechanical steering rack. You still want to know that it's going to be able to drive it when it needs to, and that regardless of what size hydraulics you got in here, that the balance is right, which I'm sure Derek would have gotten, being that our leading edge has around 20% compared to the 80% that's aft of the center line of the shaft. That's going to help with our steering a lot. Why? Well, I got to learn that to be able to explain it first.
We'll get back to you.
Oh, far up. Bea and I have the yawn so bad. It's been a big day.
Yeah.
And every day has kind of been like this. So what I was going to try and show you, and which I did before, was I found that if I put our square set into our insert for the rudder bearings, or for the shaft, we can see that the degree of the shaft angle is following the degree of the line of the hull. So we can actually see that it's square. but we can't do it now that there's stands here.
I can't.
It's
We
so
should have-
annoying.
We should have considered it, but
Too bloody
It's like-
busy filming.
yeah.
Far out, that's so annoying. Bugger. What are we gonna do?
The Archman could do that easy. They don't have to.
No, yeah,
See
you're
that
probably
for that.
right. Yeah, you're probably right.
If the keels are supported, it's fine.
Alright,
I
well,
can't imagine this is holding that much weight anyway.
no, it's stopping it from tipping off.
Yeah.
Well, what we can do is figure out. What we're going to do now is we're going to figure out where our actual waterline is going to sit on this boat. Now that we've got a square ground, it's going to be a lot easier. So it's around just a little bit below where that current line is. This is stepped out to create more volume, but not below the waterline, which is going to give it much better hydrodynamic in the
True.
water. So we come back here now. So we're going to have 40 mil clearance up.
Under our, good. That's got to go further
Yeah,
up.
yeah. So the mini keels are going to be 40 mil deeper than what our actual rudder is going to be, which is, it's perfect really, because we don't want them lower. Ideally we want them a little bit higher, but that's good. That's great news. If that's not our water line, and we said our water line was 1.4, so 1.62. So it's going to be at the top of that bottom step. So that will be well below the water the whole time then. So that does look a little bit better then. So this is unrealistic, this water line here. But then again, that's with all the rig and everything on, which we're not going to have for the first time. So
That true. All that extra weight will change the way it feels for sure.
yeah.
Was Giorgio building cats, sailing cats, or were they power cats?
Both. Yeah.
Okay. And were they the same rudders for both power and sail cats?
Yes, he said.
The
yeah.
same
Yeah,
ones?
he said every single Kelsall design catamaran, power and sail, had the same rudders, and they all, well, obviously within proportion to the boat, but the same general shape,
Okay.
and they all were amazing.
Okay.
Or so he says. It's Friday, but today hasn't been as good as other people's Fridays. For me personally, I have had an absolute bug around today. We got our profile of our rudders CNC machined out yesterday. We've put them on the boat. Had to get the stands moved so we could actually get them in and see them on the boat, and they look huge. They're big rudders. They're 1,200 deep by 800 wide. And it's just like, to me, compared to my research, seeing everything in the yard, they look ridiculous. And not only that, they're gonna need a lot of force to be able to drive the torque that's gonna be on those rudders because of such a large surface area. The boat speed motoring on this boat is gonna be 12.8 knots. And hull speed is around 14 to 15 knots we've been told. That's hammering. But that's gonna mean that there's gonna be a lot of load on those rudders. And we have this amazing existing hydraulic steering system that if we go off that design, the KSS 58 design for this boat, for that size rudder, we're going to have to get bigger cylinders. We're going to have to upgrade our hydraulic steering lines. We're going to have to upgrade our hydraulic cylinders. We're going to have to get a different helm pump. It blows the whole thing out. We have to redesign the steering system completely. And the thing is that we don't have any plans for what the original design of the rudders were in this boat. This morning, I spent the time building templates for our 35% either way of center for our steering and our hydraulic ram, and I'll show that all to you in a minute. I've pretty much spent the whole morning, I'm ahead because I've learned things, but I haven't physically done anything. I'm still at a standstill, and it's painful when you know that you've got a month and a half to go to get in the water, and one person is spending a day figuring something out to realize that you're just back in the same spot. But I mean, realistically, even if I had spent the morning doing this, I've saved us probably $7,000 figuring out that we would need to upgrade that steering system again, and that we can use what's here, which is hours of work as well. So everything's moving so fast, but it's actually happening so slowly. So for comparison, the existing cylinder that we've had in this setup is a 3/4 inch bore, which is 19 mil, and a 7-inch stroke, which is around 177 mil. What we would have had to have gone up to is a 2-inch bore, which is 50 mil, and a 11-inch stroke, which is up around 300, I think. Instead of driving from over here, which was the initial design, and the clearance between the hull and the back of the cylinder was a bee's dick, absolutely nothing. What we would have had to have done to account for that, this is the only orientation. What this shows us is our 90-degree angle between center of the hydraulic ram stroke and our rudder tiller. Here's our rudder tiller that slots onto our shaft.
So cool, babe.
And our center point is here. we're going to have 35 degrees of movement in and out, either way, port to starboard when the ram's operating. And that's with pretty much any situation. But for this size stroke, you need 280 mil from the center of the shaft to the center of your attachment point on the cylinder. So if we were to drive in, our cylinder would be sitting here and the tiller would be sitting there. If we were to drive out, watch it, this is how far back our ram would be sitting, which is like
That's crazy
100 mil
close.
from the motor and way past the front of it. But not only that, if you come up to plane view, babe, this is the structural support for the base of the cylinder. This is the point that it drives from. We would have to install basically this in the exact same position here, which would have to go around the sail drive, which would just create so much access issues for our engine bay. And to be honest, I love this engine bay compared to what we've been having to deal with. So to think about having to alter that would be devastating. This is the size system that we would need to drive our bigger rudder. So it's kind of just got me thinking that we're gonna have to have a smaller rudder on the boat, which we don't know how that's gonna affect. We don't have the time or the money to employ a naval architect who can design and tell us all this information. Unfortunately, Derek Kelsall is not with us anymore, so we can't reach out to him. So we're back on our own, going off
Flying blind.
with guidance from other people, but at the end of the day, we're the people who have to make the decisions on this, and we're the people who have to live with the outcomes of those decisions. When you're spending so much money building a rudder and putting in so much time and effort, you want to make sure it's right. So it's not something we can try and, we can always reshape it and reglass it, but anyway, so that's what I've spent my whole morning doing and figuring out. I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but I'm pretty proud of myself. Anyway,
Beautiful work, babe.
so yeah, you've seen how how it drives otherwise. And another aspect of that is we would have to buy and build a new tiller arm. Because this tiller arm is not long enough to suit what would be necessary for that size hydraulic ram. There's so many complex layers to this, but this system with the minimal stroke that it is we're gonna have to make it work. So
With a smaller rudder.
with a smaller rudder, yeah. So we're hoping that we can get a good bit of input on that from our friend who's helping us work on this, because we can't do it any other way, pretty much.
Yeah. We're baffled though, because we're wondering why the person that built this boat has strayed from the original design, which is what we've got as a template down there. Why have they built it to have smaller rudders? And if they did do that, was it because they had guidance to do so and someone was working with them? And so many questions.
So many questions, but all you have to do is look around the yard.
Yeah, look at
we've got
that.
a lightweight 45 sitting next to us, and if compared to what our rudders look like, the template on the boat, there's a pitiful. There's a third of the size, but they seem to work all right. I need to go have a yarn to the guy and ask him how the boat performs, but...
Big difference between a 45 and a 58 though.
Yeah, 13 foot, but
That rudder's half the size.
Yeah,
We got a dining room table.
See the size of the props?
Yeah, the props are huge.
Props are massive on that boat. Now that we've had the stands moved, we can actually properly see what this profile looks on our boat. You'll just have to ignore this uneven line at the top of the rudder. The difference is that our rudder shaft is actually going to be at a different angle than what was on the original design. That's why this isn't all square to the bottom of the hull. But yeah, let's take a look. So now you've had a look at what the original KSS design for the rudder is. We're reintroducing the template that James and I made up. So there's a good comparison for you. The rudder shaft and the tanks are being built right now. So once they're here, we'll be able to use this shape to actually set onto that skeleton and figure out what is going to be the best looking design with the right balance, maintaining around 20%. Because at the moment, this is 26%, 25% and 21% balance, which is a little bit high on that top edge. So we'll have to play around with that, but I don't know, what do you think? Do you like the shape of that a little bit better, babe?
Yeah, it looks the most proportionate to the boat, but in saying that, there's a reason that Kelsall designed the rudders to be that way.
If something works, why change it? If it ain't broken, what do they say?
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
What boat do you want to go to?
Anyone that's got a rudder, pretty much.
Haha.
Okay, I have no idea what this thing is, but she's a big girl. So a big consideration this whole thing is the shaft angle on the boat. This shaft angle is coming down pretty much 90 degrees to
The ground.
the ground. Ours is out at about 83 degrees or thereabouts, I think. So you have to consider that, but pretty similar surface area. There's a lot less difference in our template here compared to their rudder, compared to our template of the Kelsalls rudder.
Yeah.
Let's go to the next one.
Duet. It's a nice name. Do you think it means like a duet between the captain and the vessel? Okay.
It's not-
Don't worry about it. It's okay.
It's not enough of a duet for us because it hasn't got another hull, so we're not gonna profile it. But
This is a rudder. Here we go.
that's a rudder, but that's a mono.
Mono.
So
Yeah. We should really only compare it to cats.
Lagoon 44, very similar, a little bit less depth. With this spot on, that's a big one. Fontaine Peugeot 41, hardly a comparison.
It's like a little dorsal fin.
Tiny little dorsal fin. Seawind 11.4, I think. Lagoon 44, again shaft angle is a little bit off, but
Almost the same surface area. A little bit wider.
the closest waterline length to us so far are Lagoon 50. Very close, very, very close. We're just a little bit deeper. All right, let's jump over the other side of the yard. I'm so happy to have you back. You're like my, I don't know, soothing, like my strepsil.
I got a wrist brace, so I'm gonna be flopping around like a loser these next couple of weeks.
Well, wait, you're saying that anyone with a wrist brace is a loser?
Do you know what I was thinking?
I had a wrist brace for ages.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was thinking about Sharon from Kath and Kim. She was going around with a wrist brace. No, when I was at my parents' house before we bought this cat. I was working editing at their table, their dining room table, and was at a bit of a funky angle, and I just got the sorest wrist. Anyway, it's boring, but
No,
editing.
it's not boring. I had RSI through working as an electrician, working in switchboards, doing this all the time.
Yeah.
It's fine motor movement, and
Yeah.
this is such a big thing of why we want to get on a bigger boat, is because we need these modern luxuries and comforts.
Something, a keyboard and a monitor would be good because I'm editing our videos on a laptop, you know, so you're just like doing these little finger movements, and I've been doing that for 3 years, you know. So anyway, now I got a good brace, so it's all good. Is this what you modelled ours after?
James and I like this one so much because it had this nice cutaway leading edge, a very respectable foil on it. We just really liked it. It just looked so good on the boat, but also it was off a catamaran that was known to perform well. Leopards apparently hammer, and we want to be hammering. You know?
This is getting ridiculous.
Right. This is a shonning 5 foot smaller than what we are. This is 53.
Yeah, but look how close the rudder is to the prop.
I don't know, shonnings go hard. They
Yeah.
go really hard. This is a very interesting hull design. It's quite hard chined. Anyway, it's got a lot less depth here, probably say 450 mil abouts. It's got much less balance. It's so much less surface area. The balance doesn't need to be as great.
I actually love this 80s green. 80s? 90s? I don't know. I wasn't there. But
I would actually go
I
with
just
that
think
colour.
I think it looks so cool.
Yeah, I would go with that
So
colour.
classic.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. But
No, I like it too. but-
retro. Now, we saw this boat for the first time in our first season up north.
Yeah.
It was just slicing through the water before our eyes.
This is 17.1 meters. That is 500 mil shorter than us. James and I really liked the shape of this rudder, but we also realized that these are kick-up rudders. They go into the boat so you can sit this shunning straight on its hull because it's got dagger boards. Having mini keels, we aren't going to be able to do that. We have got the keel or the skeg to kind of protect the rudder down the line. We thought we could get a little bit more depth there, and it would just work better. So that's what we did. We didn't go straight with this design. We went with Wanderlust. But have a look at.
Try and get your finger through there.
Ow.
Oh, that's cool.
An absolutely gorgeous.
What an amazing design.
And just millimeter accuracy.
Anyone there?
It doesn't look as bad as I thought they would look. We went with stainless ones. I hope I don't regret it.
Yeah, we were looking at through-hole fittings last night, and we decided against the black ones, but now seeing it on a wildfire, it doesn't look so bad. But then again, they've got a gold boat with black sign writing, so...
Look at the gorgeous copper coat anti-foul, which one day I would dream of having on our boat. Just the lines down there. Oh my god. The cutaway bow, so it actually has more leading edge on the waterline than it does up high.
All right, step away from her now.
Righto.
The second set of
Oh, Graham, you've called at the right time.
I needed that today. That's amazing. Wow. Okay, and how do you like that balance?
That's 24.8, so it's a lot better balance. That saves you a fair bit.
Okay.
Balance helps you turn the rudder.
Yep.
So not enough balance means it's harder to turn. Too much balance means it's harder to straighten up. So 20, as long as it's not over 25, 26, it's fine.
The balance does taper on that leading edge. Do you reckon I should try and get it equal all the way through, or that's all right to have it?
No, just do it like it is.
Damn. All right.
So if you put a 105 helm with that,
Yep.
it'll give you 2.6 turns lock to lock.
That's exactly what I wanted. Oh my god, that's sick.
See how much difference it makes by a bit of blade area?
Yeah, absolutely. Man, I can't tell you how happy you made me, Graham.
He's got tears in his eyes. He's so happy.
The owners of Boatworks also built Dreamworld, and I'll tell you what, this place feels like a theme park because I feel like I'm on a roller coaster 100% of the time I'm doing this project. Some days I'm like, yeah, I'm so high, and then today I was just like my stomach was up in my throat. Oh, just thinking we had to spend so much money to redesign.
Savour that deep breath, Josh. While we wait for the shaft and tanks to arrive, we've still got a boatload of work ahead of us.